Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys having a blessed day today. You watching On Air with Nick Driver. You guys check me out. My socials are above. You guys follow me on TikTok, Instagram, X, Facebook, and here on YouTube. Yeah, man. Let's get into it. So evidently, Elon Musk went on to Joe Rogan experience here a few days ago. So let's roll the tape, man. See what Elon has to say. Hope you guys having a blessed day today.
Rogan experience.
What has it been like? You've owned X for a year now.
Oh yeah.
Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night and have a dream that you didn't do it? And your life is infinitely easier?
Well, it's certainly a recipe for trouble, I suppose, or contention.
What was it ultimately that led you to make the decision to do it?
I mean, this is going to sound somewhat melodramatic, but I was worried about that it was having a corrosive effect on civilization. That it was just having a bad impact. And I think part of it is that it's where it was located, which is downtown San Francisco. And while I think San Francisco is a beautiful city, and we should really fight hard to kind of right the ship of San Francisco. If you've walked around downtown San Francisco, right near the FK Twitter headquarters, it's a zombie apocalypse.
Mm.
I mean, it's rough. Have you been in that area?
Not lately. No,
Yeah.
I've heard.
I've heard that it's really bad. It's almost like a foreign country. It's just crime everywhere and people like just chilling out. Homelessness is kind of rampant out there now. It's just like it's a shell of itself. So just with the different policies that they're implementing, from what I've heard.
It's crazy.
I've heard it's crazy. I've heard you really can't believe it until you actually go there.
You can't believe it until you go there. So now you have to say, well, what philosophy led to that outcome? And that philosophy was being piped to Earth. So, a philosophy that would be ordinarily quite niche and geographically constrained, so that the fallout area would be limited, was effectively given an information weapon, information technology weapon to propagate what is essentially a mind virus to the rest of Earth. And the outcome of that mind virus is very clear if you walk around the streets of downtown San Francisco. It is the end of civilization.
And it's not just propagating the mind virus, but suppressing any opposing viewpoints.
Yes. Well, in order for the virus to propagate, it must suppress opposing viewpoints.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. He's mentioning this. I'm guessing, they're probably talking about ultra liberalism here, and you can kind of see it on TV with, cancel culture, people trying to cancel people all the time. They want to take your money away from you if you don't agree with them. So I'm guessing that's what Elon's talking about here, and just bad policy in general when it comes to whoever's in charge. The governor out there is Gavin Newsom. I don't know who the mayor is out there, but, get the wrong people in charge, man, and shit will hit the fan in a heartbeat, man.
So,
because it doesn't stand up to scrutiny.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, you've felt the virus.
Yeah.
Yeah. People will try to cancel you so many times.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't think you're melodramatic at all. I think it's I mean, I don't want to be melodramatic, but it's almost like a death cult.
It's a death cult. No, that is exactly right. It's essentially the extinctionists. Like, it's in the limit. It is that they're propagating the extinction of humanity and civilization. And there's some people who are like most of the time it's implicit. They don't but sometimes it's explicit. Like there was a guy on the front page of the New York Times who literally has the thing called the extinctionist movement. And he was quoted on the front page of the New York Times as saying, there are 8 billion people in the world, but it would be better if there were none.
Jeez.
And I'm like, well, buddy, you can start with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real, man.
Does he have friends? That's what always fascinates me.
Well,
Here he is.
that guy.
He looks like he's not long for this earth.
I mean, he's not
Voluntary
young.
human extinction movement. That's hilarious. I'd like to party with that dude. I would just
Okay.
like to
That's
yeah.
that's an explicit version of the death cult.
Yeah, maybe live
extinctionist
long
cult.
and die out.
It's I mean, it's not.
Jeez.
The extinction is a word he uses.
Yes.
No, I mean, it's not. It's literally a self-description.
Do they cover
that
him
death cult
glowingly?
was in charge of social media.
Yeah.
And still largely is at Google and Facebook, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not in favor of human extinction. They are, and they can go to hell.
Well, that guy is.
Yeah, he can go to hell.
That guy.
Yeah, man, I don't understand some of these people, man. I don't understand. How does someone get themselves to a place mentally where you want to wipe your own species off the earth? I mean, how much of what a psychotic thought, man. That's crazy shit right there.
Guy seems silly. I
well,
would like to hang out with him, though. I would like to find out what makes him tick. I bet that guy is fascinating.
Well,
if you get him alone for a few days,
I mean, I'm in favor of. I mean, I'm pro-environment, but the in the limit, if you take environmentalism to an extreme, you start to view humanity as a plague on the surface of the earth, like a mold or something.
Right.
But this is actually false. The Earth could take probably 10 times the current civilization. The population you could 10x the population without destroying the rainforest. So the environmental movement, and I'm an environmentalist, has gone too far. They've gone way too far. If you start thinking that humans are bad, then the natural conclusion is humans should die out. Now, I'm headed to an AI safety, international sort of AI safety conference later tonight, leaving in about 3 hours. I'm going to meet with the British Prime Minister, a number of other people. So you have to say, like, how could AI go wrong? Well, if AI gets programmed by the extinctionists,
right,
it will.
Right.
Utility function will be the extinction of humanity.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's a good point, man. If we allow, the wrong people to be a part of wiring and programming these artificial intelligences, I mean, they could program them to wipe us off the planet, man. You get somebody in there that's like has a crazy ass squirrely viewpoint like that. Wow, man, that is a scary thought, man.
So I mean, there are times when masks are warranted, but most of the time it's actually counterproductive.
Well, that was one of the things about the old Twitter was the propaganda and the adherence to whatever the CDC was saying and the dismissing of legitimate scientists, guys like Jay Bhattacharya from Stanford and legit guys.
Yes.
And they were suppressing them and even banning them. They banned Alex Berenson. I mean, it was wild. They banned Alex for essentially reading peer-reviewed papers.
Yeah. No,
that's crazy.
All
Twitter was basically an arm of the government.
Yeah.
So
was that shocking? Like, what was that like? Because that, to me, that was the most bizarre. Was the Twitter files when you let Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi and all those guys get in the Twitter, and the response where Matt Taibbi gets audited. I mean, which is just
that's crazy, man. It's like you would think that people would want these whistleblowers to actually, tell us like some evil shit that people are doing, out there like they were doing with old Twitter. But it's like half the population goes along with it. It's like they want to be controlled, man. It's crazy. I don't understand it, man. It's like just looking at that stuff, like Elon Musk is a freaking genius, man. And Joe Rogan has, he's got a great way of just talking with people and trying to get people's thoughts and out. And Elon Musk clearly is an environmentalist. I mean, he has a Tesla, which is a environmentally, amazing car. I'm sure people hate him because of his politics now. But I mean, before he even decided he was middle of the road, or maybe he's a conservative now, I think he's a libertarian or independent, kind of close to what I'm like as far as my viewpoints. But yeah, man, this is insane, man.
Just wild. I mean, it's just so blatant and so in your face.
Yeah, it's weird. No, I mean, the degree to which, and by the way, Jack didn't really know this, but the degree to which Twitter was simply an arm of the government was not well understood by the public, and it was whatever the official government. I mean, it was like Pravda, basically. It's a state publication is the way to think of old Twitter. It's a state publication.
And was the justification from their perspective that they are progressive liberals, they have the right intentions, it's important that they stay in power, the progressive liberals stay in government and power, because this is their
there was basically oppression of any views that would even, I would say, be considered middle of the road. But
Right.
certainly anything on the right. I'm not talking about like far right. I'm just talking mildly right. The people like Republicans were suppressed at 10 times the rate of Democrats.
Jeez.
Now that's because old Twitter was.
He just said Republicans were repressed 10 times, 10 to 1 on old Twitter in comparison to liberals. The crazy thing is I'm a public figure. I guess everybody's a public figure now, but I'm a musician, and I'm telling you, man, that whole entire it's a crazy moment in time right now, man. And just to have to battle those fights you can do it, man, but it's just takes time away from my creative process. It's just annoying as shit. It's like a gnat in your ear.
Was fundamentally controlled by the far left. It was like completely controlled by the far left, and that's why I say like like San Francisco, Berkeley is a niche ideology. It's hard to say like, is there a place that's more far left than San Francisco, Berkeley?
maybe Portland.
But it's like it's a
Right there.
It's like it's those two places.
Chapel Hill,
are
North
the
Carolina.
most far left places in America.
Yes.
So from their standpoint, everything is to the right, including moderates.
Right.
So
Exactly. That's crazy.
If you internalize a far left position, everything seems wrong to you that is not far left.
Right.
And so they naturally oppressed anything that didn't agree with their views. That's why I say that it was
That's insane.
an accidental far left information weapon. So because it's like Silicon Valley attracts the smartest engineers, the smartest sort of technologists and programmers from around the world.
Right.
They created an information weapon that was then harnessed by the far left, who could not themselves create the weapon, but happened to be co-located where the technologists were.
And happened to be aligned politically with the people that possessed it.
The technologists generally are moderate, maybe moderate left, but they're not far left. That's why I say San Francisco, Berkeley. It doesn't even extend to South San Francisco or even to Palo Alto. So SF Berkeley is the most far left. Perhaps in a competition with Portland, but I'd say SF Berkeley is more far left even than Portland. Like literally in America, we're talking about an area that's maybe a 10-mile radius. And so normally the effects, the negative effects of a far left ideology that would be geographically limited to a 10-mile radius. That's like it's small, like so any bad effects of that ideology would be geographically constrained under normal circumstances and have been in the past. But when you have basically a technological megaphone, which was Twitter and social media in general. Suddenly, the far left are handed a megaphone to Earth,
Right.
an incredibly powerful technology weapon that they themselves could not create.
Yeah, I'm not like against people on the left, man. You can go too far either way. You know, you can go too far to the right, you can go too far to the left, and that's when, you know, we start having these outcomes such as what's happening there in California, in that area. You know, I would hope one day we can kind of bring it back to a middle of the road political climate here. Everything is just so crazy, man.
But they happen to be co-located with the technologists who created it by accident.
Is it shocking that more people don't understand how dangerous that is?
I think some people understand.
Some people do.
Some people understand. So, I mean, from the standpoint of some people who used to be at Twitter, the people are like, well, it's a big shift to the right. That is correct. It is a shift to the right because everything is to the right if you're far left. Everything is to the right. But how many far left people have actually been suspended or banned from Twitter, now X? Well, 0.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
So it's really just moved to the center. But from the perspective of the far left, it's moved to the right. It's like everything's relative.
The difference in moderation.
Sorry, I should say, it propagated that far left philosophy not just to America, but to everywhere on Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the same level of suppression in other countries as well.
Yes.
But the Taliban is on Twitter, right?
Like I always think of like, hey, Mr. Taliban, tally me a banana. Hey, Mr. Taliban.
I mean, there's definitely some people on Twitter that are
daylight coming. I want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is, from my standpoint, that is that X, FK, Twitter, should represent the sort of collective consciousness of humanity. So now that means that there are going to be views on there that you don't like,
right,
or disagree with. But that's humanity.
Right.
So are you going to exclude them or not? Now, I mean, if somebody, breaks the law, then the account is suspended. I mean, if they actively advocate murder, then the account is suspended. We do have what we call like the kind of United Nations exclusion rule, which is that you can have, say, the Ayatollah, who, would prefer that Israel didn't exist, for example. But he's allowed to go to the UN building in New York. In fact, generally officials from Iran do in fact go to.
Yeah, that's always been pretty crazy to me. I'm not a Trumper, but I'm sure I look like that to people that are hardcore on the left. But I always wondered, like, how come you won't let the Ayatollah stay on Twitter and the Taliban, and you kicked off Donald Trump? I mean, the guy, it's crazy out here, man. We got a crazy ass world, man. Like Andrew Tate gets kicked off stuff, and I get it. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to, while I'm putting stuff out, I don't want to get any strikes or anything like that. I just mean from a human standpoint, at Twitter, it's like before he took it over, how come they leave people on there that have committed mass atrocities, murdered children, political enemies, but then you take like Trump off of there, man. I mean, it's like, it's just so stupid. It's like clearly it was used as a political weapon, especially with this kind of information coming out. It's crazy.
To the UN building in New York, even though they're a heavily sanctioned country. So I think that there's merit to having just like there's some merit to the UN. One can disagree with the UN, and I think we shouldn't have a world government that we bow down to. But in fact, that's risky for civilization. But I think you do want to have the leaders of countries represented on social media.
Wow, man. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy thinking about a lot of that stuff that he said and just letting it sink in that, you know, he mentioned that conservative voices were, you know, repressed 10-1 as opposed to, you know, liberal voices before he got there at Twitter. You know, I think that's the big thing is I don't really care what somebody's thoughts and their voting points are. I don't mind what everybody does. But, you know, you have to be really careful thinking about these people out here that, you know, it doesn't matter what side they're on. You have to look at it and go, anybody who's telling you that if you don't think like me, then you're wrong. If you don't think like me, then you're evil or you're racist or you're, you know, misogynist or you're blah. Those people are the problem, man. And it's scary, man. It's a scary world we're in right now. We got a bunch of wars out here going on. We got this kind of shit going on. I tell you what, man, you guys keep sending me videos. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Take care. You're watching On Air with Nick Driver. You guys check my socials out up top up here, man. I put those in today. So I'm trying to do one new thing per day with my video podcasts and stuff here. So yeah, man, thank you guys. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Take care. Keep sending me videos. Elon Musk, Joe Rogan video. Had a great time looking at it. You guys can hit me up on any of these socials up top and send me videos. Man, I'm just trying to learn, take all this stuff in. You guys be safe. Take care. Skeet, skeet.